Hi, hello, and welcome to a video on this Real Guru channel. Y'all know I'm like always drinking something, right? Today is not branded water. Well, I got a bottle of water, and then I also have filtered water. I'm just gonna rip the label off. Today I think I was kind of going to talk about this yesterday, but I was trying to be focused yesterday. Today is one of those not trying to necessarily stick to anything, vague idea of what I'm going to do. I'm using the Pride Tarot. Welcome to Chasing the Chill Tarot. We're on Chasing the Chill because it's warm. I'm kidding. Um, Yeah, I think I was kind of going to mention it yesterday, but yesterday I wanted to be a little bit more focused, and it's something I've just been thinking a little bit about, especially within the past few days, within this month for sure, which is maybe this North Node Pisces energy. North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. So I'm going to use the Pride Tarot because last month was Pride Month and I didn't use them. And I'm going to use the Energy Oracle cards as significators because I'm going to look before and after first decan of Pisces. So that is the Eight of Cups and the Eight of Pentacles. And then I'm going to look before and after Pisces Virgo as a whole. The energy of it kind of sort of came up last time, kind of sort of in the interpretation at the very least, just to see kind of sort of what the nodes are giving us before they transit into okay crematory on site. uh yeah. um See what they're giving us before the nodes shift into Aquarius Leo. I feel like I feel like since the nodes have shifted, where I am now, like I feel like there's been so many surprises in this North Node Pisces, South Node Virgo. And I feel like a part of it was like if Pisces is the dream, is the fantasy, is the romanticized version of something, more so dream. I feel like the dream was expanded in a lot of ways beyond what I was aware of or what I thought. Right. So if South Node Virgo was a little bit more realistic in its shadow, maybe a little pessimistic or too tethered to certain aspects of reality to the point where it like interfered with an ability to dream. I feel like there was that. And then I think also too, you could say that South Node Virgo, North Node Pisces could have been at sometimes maybe, but you could say that it could have been sometimes learning to see beyond one's immediate reality, like learning to see good or learning to be hopeful or being able to like romanticize something despite a potentially grim reality, but integrating that node or integrating that axis, it's like not rejecting reality. but not being so engrossed in it that we can't see beyond it. And seeing beyond it could be in the future. Seeing beyond it could be like different things that are happening in the moment. I can see it being like either way. But I was gonna say, like, I feel like that's like I was gonna say I feel like that's something that's been the case for a hot minute. You could say forever. But like Pisces, Aquarius, Capricorn, and maybe Sagittarius are the universal signs. Again, approximate knowledge of a few things. It's been a minute. Um, but I guess we're finishing the node's transit through its first universal sign. We start from the back instead of like Sagittarius slash Capricorn. We're starting in Pisces and then we're working our way backwards. I think too, I feel like it's interesting because maybe I've just been out of the loop this past few months at this point. I feel like I've seen things here and there about earthquakes. Like I think maybe Venezuela and maybe somewhere else had earthquakes. There's been pretty bad storms and tornadoes and stuff in the Midwest US. Um, I was at the gym the other day and I think, oh, I meant to text Rob for no particular reason. I think I heard about fires in Colorado. I was like, fires, earthquakes, all this other stuff. Um, I feel like with other things going on in the world, I haven't been as aware. It's like I'll see something in passing, or I feel like usually it would occupy a bit more space, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of low key obsessed with this, just doing what it wants to do. Um, but yeah, in the energy oracle cards, I'm going to look before and after the door to spirit as North Node Pisces, and before and after financial constraints as South Node Virgo. I don't know. I feel maybe the magician in the mirror. Maybe not. Let's start here. I've only got these two decks. Doesn't mean I'm not going to be here for 5 hours. But yeah, it's been a really, really interesting, and I feel like there was there was the things that at one point I had dreamed of that I had forgotten about because life had taken me in whatever direction it took me in, or because I was having whatever experiences I was having. Kind of sort of in a different way of that South Node Virgo, North Node Pisces, of like seeing beyond a potentially grim present reality. Um, it was like things that I had resigned myself to not, things that I had just like surrendered, I guess. And oddly enough, it was a dream or a series of dreams that was like, you don't have to like give up on this. You don't have to surrender this. And I was like, but here lately, I guess North Node Pisces is still, she's like, I still got surprises. I still got tricks up my sleeve. Um, It was like something completely unexpected. I feel like there have been a few different trajectories forward, a few different flavors of a path for me in the realm of career, specifically in the realm of career. And all three of them were completely unexpected. One of them was a dream that I used to have that I forgot about. Another was something that I never thought I would ever do. I was kind of open to it until I was like, I don't think that the environment on that path is appropriate for me. Slash, I don't think I don't think the environment is appropriate for me. I feel like I would be more open to it if things were different than what they are. And I guess that's not to say that if there isn't a realm in which the environment is correct, that's not a path I would take, but it's not looking like it. And then here most recently is like a flavor of something that I didn't expect, but that's like kind of really fun. That sounds really fun. And when I feel into it, there's a lot of like joy there. And I feel like any path would involve a certain amount of joy. Like joy could be found in any path. But with this one, it feels almost like rooted in it, or the joy is intrinsic. It's not something that there's like a 75 to 90% chance. You know what I mean? It's like not guaranteed because that'd be extreme. It's just something I had never considered. Never. And I'm just like, wait, what? I really want that. And I guess it is interesting because it isn't necessarily, it's not work that I thought I would be doing. It is something that like came across my radar before, but I had decided to move in a different direction. And in the direction I had decided to move on, there were like these two paths that were really sort of coming forward. But now here's this extra one that's in a different direction. But I'm just like, that's the one that I want. So whatever we gotta do to make this happen, let's make it happen. You know what I mean? And again, literally within the past week, probably within the past 5 days, I could tell you exactly. I was gonna say I wasn't, but I almost wonder what the transits were. I'm curious about the transits, so I guess we're gonna go there. I was curious about the transits. The transits. Okay, that's not what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to do. Thursday. Well, technically Wednesday night into Thursday. So like the first into the second. I haven't flipped my calendar yet. New moon on the 14th, full moon on the 29th. Cool. Yeah, first, second. Oh, it's Canada Day. Happy belated Canada Day to all the Canadians. I'm just like, whoa, okay. And it just, we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. Bottom of the deck is the Two of Pentacles. Again, I'm using the Pride Tarot because Pride Month is over and I didn't use them. Two of Pentacles and Judgment. I kind of love these. All right. I'm looking before and after the Eight of Cups, Eight of Pentacles, the Moon, and the Hermit as the nodes finishing their transit, Pisces, Virgo, and then going into, and the sort of energy of the transit as a whole. Excuse me, now, kind of sort of tactically, this is when I would like to use two different decks because who's to say they're not the same? But just because I'm not going to get the same card doesn't mean that the same energy won't come out, right? So, ooh, okay. This is where we'll start. We got the World and the Ace of Cups as these falling cards. This Ace of Cups looks so alien to me. I'm like, have I ever seen this? We're doing it. Let's go for it. I'm pulling from the top. Why not? Starting with the Knight of Cups, the Ace of Swords, and the Empress. Okay. Excuse me. Oh. Eight of Cups is in between the Five of Cups and the Four of Cups. 5 plus 4 is 9. Oh, I'm flipping these. The Moon is in between the Ten of Wands and the Two of Wands. Oh, and before the Ten of Wands is the Nine of Cups. That's like the 5 plus 4 cups. I'll take it just to like remind myself. So all of the Pisces North Node energies have come out. Now we're looking for, there's the Hermit, the Queen of Wands, and the Page of Swords. And now I'm like, how do I want to do this? Because I do want to be cognizant of the order these came out in. Eight of Pentacles is in between the King of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. Oops. And I accidentally pulled the King of Cups behind that Two of Wands. I guess I'll keep it. So we got where the North Node is, where the North Node has been, where the South Node has been, and then where the South Node is. Bottom of the deck is the Knight of Pentacles, and this is the most aquatic Knight of Pentacles card that I have. It's the cupsiest. And I guess the Two of Pentacles, or the King of Pentacles, is behind the Two of Pentacles. I'm like, where's my water? I'm like, what are we doing? Every now and then, towards the start, I'm just like, you know what I mean? Walking away and blossoming abundance at the cut. Well, it's walking towards blossoming abundance as I show you. As I see it, it's walking away from blossoming abundance. Contract. Walking away from blossoming abundance towards a contract. What's that about? But behind the contract is cornucopia. Now, when walking away and blossoming abundance first came out, I had a thought of, well, the abundance is blossoming over here, but it was a pondering of if abundance has already blossomed somewhere else. And that's where the walking away is going. First, it was headed towards the contract, but the energy behind the contract is one of cornucopia. In cornucopia, the abundance is already there, but it's behind this contract. Now, thinking man in the contract, indecision in the thinking man. Okay. Interesting. We'll do one more. And then a cut. Cornucopia at the bottom of the deck. Cornucopia, indecision, and all tied up. Hostilities behind all tied up, and door to value behind that. We'll set these here and then find what we're looking for. Again, door to spirit and financial constraints. Okay, well, there's not too many cards left. Wow. Wow, I got 4 cards left. Okay. This is literally the top 2 cards. The top 2 cards of the deck were door to spirit and financial constraints. If I would have did this like I did the other one, we would have found it immediately. So, flanking financial constraints is the man holding a coin and the door to spirit. There's nothing before the door to spirit, only financial constraints after. And then appreciation is left before that man holding a coin. I think this is a little cooler, maybe. I filled this up hours ago, and it's cooler than that. Now, I haven't pulled for the next energy. Excuse me. So, right now, nodal energy is reading like the 5 of Cups and the 4 of Cups. So we got milk and cookies here. We got 2 dudes hanging out And this is so interesting. This is what we're working with. And the Five of Cups, the two cups that are left upright are floating out in the water. Those are the three cups that are still. I mean, to be fair, this could be some like mer person energy because there's no shore. It does look like all water. Um, but then in the Four of Cups, there's like literally spilled milk right there. And there's the phrase, right, like crying over spilled milk. Now, the five plus the Four of Cups is the Nine of Cups. And the Nine of Cups is a card of wish fulfillment, right? So I think on one hand, and I just saw this earlier, um, and it's that like kind of like a long, like when a relationship hits the long term phase, it looks different than what it like may have looked and felt like when it was newer or in the short term phase, right? And so it's almost like potentially almost like learning to maybe at the very least learning to recognize the different phases of something or learning to understand that as something as we stick with something or as we stay in something, then the dynamic is liable to change. But just because the dynamic changes doesn't necessarily mean it's not what we want, because the Nine of Cups energy, or it's not sort of what it is. Now, the Five of Cups here is interesting because it almost feels like the more we kind of fixate on these three, the further out. I mean, I guess it could drift out or in. They could be drifting in and then they'll tap this person on the back and then, they'll turn around and notice the two cups upright. That could be the case, or they could just like float off into the horizon. Maybe whether it floats to us or away from us is a function of this Four of Cups energy of like learning to recognize something in a different phase. And I guess that could be anything, right? Like if it's anything, maybe we don't find it in the phase we thought we'd find it in, right? Maybe we thought we would come across something more established and we find it in its infancy and we get the opportunity to like grow with the thing, right? So if it's like it could be anything in a job career, it could be like maybe someone works at a startup or a smaller company before they go big, but because they get in when it's smaller, of course there's the whole stocks and whatever, right? You get your equity before the IPO and then the blah 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 whatever, then you make money because you got in on the ground level, right? Like getting in on Apple when Steve Jobs was still in his garage type energy. Or I feel like even if so, like if it's something related to a relationship, right? And let's say that someone is going to have a partner that is well off, but they meet before either person comes into like major success. And it's because they get to go through it together and there may be something of benefit there, right? Not only more clarity in the does this person like me for me or do they like me for my money and for the lifestyle that I provide, but also someone may need that kind of support to get where they're going, and then that can happen there. It's like any innovator or entrepreneur that did something new and bold and different, or something that people didn't necessarily see success in, but they had a partner, or a friend, a trusted whoever that was there, that believed in them, encouraged them, and they did it together until the rest of the world caught on. Right? It could be, it's like the phase. And that was like the beginning, but we could also catch it maybe later. But whatever phase we catch it in, it'll be just right. Now, the connotation behind that Four of Cups, it's a lot of presence with the self. And it could be a lot of therapy is the easy word, because like let's say someone's in a relationship. Like I watched the second season of Netflix's The Boyfriend basically with my mom. We watched it separately because she didn't want to watch it with me, but we talked about it. I mean, to be fair, I paused a lot. And there were some days I just had to like stop watching because it was like secondhand awkward, embarrassed. So just like I can't deal with this. I can't watch this right now. Um, but there was one person there who was like in a relationship for years and years and years, and they had ended up breaking up because he was like, things got boring. Like there wasn't a spark anymore, and like it was all whatever. But through his time on the show, he basically comes to the conclusion that that's kind of what love does when you've been with someone, because then it was like every time he went to the grocery store, he would think of things that him and his partner used to like get. And it was like he was constantly reminded of how love showed up in the everyday moment, like in everyday moments, and not just the whirlwindy, world shaking moments that are kind of sort of more towards the beginning. You know what I mean? And it's not that those moments don't still happen throughout the relationship, but again, it matures and it looks different, right? Like if you go from not living with somebody to living with somebody, there's going to be changes there. And also, I was watching a piece of a podcast, and someone had this isn't sponsored, obviously, but they had a no CD sponsor. And they were like, have you ever been sort of like dating somebody and things get kind of quiet and you're like, am I boring? Does this person not like me? Blah, 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 blah. And she was like, OCD can manifest in ways outside of how we usually think of OCD as manifesting. So again, like that kind of energy here represented in this Four of Cups, where here there's like a contentment and a happiness and they're perfectly fine, kind of sort of like doing their own things, but sharing that space together. And I think on the flip side of that too would be, for example, like learning to differentiate something like toxic from something true, right? Like maybe there's been a lot of experiences when it comes to certain things that weren't necessarily the best, but because those are the experiences that we had, that's what we think something is supposed to look like, right? Like let's say, for example, let's make it real whatever. Let's say like apple pie, right? You grow up on apple pie, your mom bakes it, you love it. She burns it every single time. Every single time she baked you a pie, it was burnt, like burnt. And then you grow up, you hear, I don't know, you go somewhere on a trip or someone's like, I make this really, really good apple pie. And everyone's like, oh, yeah, that apple pie is amazing. And you go and you taste and you're like, it's undercooked. It's like, it's not, I don't like it. But it's like, apple pie is not supposed to be like, you're used to like burnt apple pie. That's not what it's supposed to be like. It's not supposed to be like charcoal. You know what I mean? And so yeah, it's just like some kind of element of presence. But again, to correct or realize something like this, sometimes it's something that like we have to sort of really sit with. Maybe there are things that we have to unlearn. Now, with North Node Pisces being this 10 of Wands, 2 of Wands, the 10 of Wands, again, backed by this 9 of Cups, it's very, yes, there's a part of like, do we learn to recognize whatever? Do we learn to accept whatever? Is it something that we even want? And with the 10 of Wands and the 2 of Wands, that 10 of Wands can represent sort of like sticking to the old. It can, it doesn't necessarily have to. Take it if it resonates, as it resonates. If it don't resonate, don't take it. I have this whole like, because the last time I was like you, and then when I said you, I was like, if this resonates for you, then you is you. If it doesn't resonate for you, then you're not you. And then I was like, I can use like us or we for like, this is what people in general kind of sort of, this is what Patrick thinks of people in general kind of sort of doing. You know what I mean? But anyway, I didn't like have that thought for a whole like 5 to 10 minutes yesterday, last night. I don't remember. Anyway, one, can y'all hear that? That's that weird. I'm like, how do you even make that noise? I think someone said something. That's Chino. He's sleeping. I'm like, go to your room. What are these noises? They're so weird. It's just like, how do you even make that noise? Anyway, um, the 2 of Wands sort of moves forward in that. And the 10 of Wands kind of sort of gets stuck in the whatever of it. Now, the 10 of Wands in this deck is probably one of my favorite 10 of Wands cards. So it's almost a little unfortunate or tragic that the message of it doesn't really seem to be coming through. Well, I guess the 10 of Wands, the person goes on a journey. They go to seek the divine, right? You can say that's the person down there. That's the face of the divine. They go on a journey to seek the divine and they ask the divine, like, why are things so difficult for me? Why is it so hard? And I guess it kind of sort of boils down to like God gives his toughest assignments to his strongest warriors or whatever. I should read it from the book. But this, it's almost like it gets stuck in what we think we want versus what it is that we actually want and going down that path of a true fulfillment. It's basically that. And that's the overall energy of the North Node in Pisces, I guess. What we think we want, slash, what we've been conditioned and patterned into believing something is versus what it actually is versus what we actually want. Right. So then we move to the energy of South Node Virgo, and that's the Queen of Wands and the Page of Swords. I feel like this is an interesting duo. Queen of Wands and Page of Swords almost feels like a semi real time attraction, right? Like, if this were anything, like metaphorically, it's almost like if you're running experiments or trials, if you're running trials, you change a variable and then you run it to see how things change, right? So, for example, if you're growing something, and growing something takes a little bit longer, but that's what we're going with. Maybe you change like the pH of the soil, right? If you're growing azaleas, question mark, you want a slightly more acidic pH, question mark, because that's where they thrive. From that same almanac a day, they mentioned, is it basic? It may be basic. I feel like it's acidic. Um, I'll just do azalea soil pH. Azaleas thrive in acidic soil with pH between 4.5 and 5.5. This high acidity is required for the plant to absorb essential nutrients. If the soil is too alkaline, leaves will turn yellow, but you can lower the pH by adding garden sulfur. Interesting that you add sulfur, especially because of this this Ace of Cups energy. I'm like, why does it have like wings? And I'm like, what is this? Right. So you can adjust the pH, you can adjust the moisture, and then you see how things grow. So it's almost like the Page of Swords is this selector, and then the Queen of Wands is the manifested reality. And I wonder how universal that experience is, because it reads like it would be quicker than usual. Where like maybe you reach some kind of breakthrough and your outlook changes, and more immediately, more rapidly than usual, potentially, your world reflects the change. Your world reflects where your mind is. And I don't know if it's us becoming more magnetic, if it's just like a flexy, fluid state of things, if it's a bit of both. Now, where the South Node is right now, we have the King of Wands, the King of Cups, the Two of Pentacles, and the King of Wands. Two of Pentacles between both of these kings. I don't know why I originally thought that was like the King of Pentacles. Um, Now, what I love about this Two of Pentacles is that like the heart is down there. Also, that infinity sign is giving the Magician is giving strength. Maybe just those two majors. Excuse me. See, this King of Cups behind the Two of Pentacles It's making me think of this Five of Cups. And are these two cups like being pulled in towards the person, or are they being pulled out towards the horizon? Which honestly, low key, I feel like because this reads like how it's reading, especially the question with the Queen of Wands, like is she becoming more like magnetic or attractive, or is that a state of like is it reflective of the state that we're in? And it's almost like to a certain degree it doesn't matter, because regardless of which one of those is the case, there's still something for us to learn. Now, where the South Node is right now, we have the Two of Pentacles on one side, and we have the Two of Pentacles with the King of Cups on one side and the King of Wands on the other side. It is almost giving. Um, I had it and I literally just lost it. Oh, it was the Walking Away, Blossoming Abundance contract cornucopia energy. It's like the King of Wands is something almost like more enticing and more appealing. But the Two of Pentacles, King of Cups, reads like it would be more fulfilling. It may be more of an investment and it may require active participation and navigation and choice, but it has reads like it has a higher emotional payout than the King of Wands. The King of Wands is like immediate. So in a way, right now the South Node is in this almost instant gratification versus delayed satisfaction type energy, or delayed fulfillment. Now, with that North Node Pisces energy sort of being what it is, I can see this. See, and then there's like a little touch of devil energy again. I can see this being very like, while we're learning to recognize the truth of something, there's like some kind of shiny distraction going on. The shiny distraction may fit more of the like, and again, it's like very much that like when it was what we kind of sort of learn, what we associate with love versus what love can be. And it's almost like that toxic bad boy, bad girl type, makes you fight for it, makes you cry for it, make you feel like you're losing your mind for it type energy. And then to see this like biker King of Wands character here, it's like, okay. Whereas on the other side is the Two of Pentacles and the King of Wands, are the Two of Pentacles and the King of Cups. And it's interesting because it's almost like you could almost read the Two of Pentacles and the King of Cups as like the more emotionally maybe manipulative or narcissistic, and the King of Wands as this like live free. You can kind of sort of read it either way. But in navigating this South Nodal energy, maybe we discover what it is, like what it means to us. Right. So now the indecision and all tied up make a lot more sense with the cornucopia. So the energy of South Node Virgo is the door to spirit with the man holding a coin. The energy of North Node Pisces is financial constraints. I mean, I guess like if you think of the North Node as a challenge and the South Node as comfort, then the South Node is going to be, it's almost like as challenging as the North Node may be, that's as comfortable as the South Node will be. Because as we grow, as we evolve, as we change, the cost of that or the alternative is staying the same. So the more growth, evolution, change is required, the more comfortable comfort seems because it's more energy that we don't have to exert or whatever, right? Oh, okay. Are you still open? Sorry, let me close this program. It popped up something earlier, and I'm like, it's because I was gonna shut my computer down, but I canceled it, and so I think some of the programs were like still in that half shutdown mode. Anyway, it's fine. I just closed the whole program, and then the window stopped popping up. I mean, it's been closed for. It's really been 52 minutes. Um, yeah, I feel like there's not a lot of upfront incentive with this North Node Pisces energy because it's just financial constraints. But with the South Node, you get the door to spirit and the man holding a coin. It's interesting that South Node Virgo comes out with door to spirit and the man holding a coin because that gives this a very interesting flavor of beyond um, relationships and beyond career, where we kind of sort of go for maybe what we're sold or what's comfortable and what's familiar. This sort of brings in a spiritual element with the energy oracle cards, where it's like, on one hand, it's almost like a prosperity gospel, manifest your wildest dreams, anything you want, you can have with no effort needed, with the door to spirit and the man holding a coin. Because it's like the door to spirit is open, but it's like this coin based sort of thing. The more coins you put into it, the wider the doors of spirit open. And with the door to spirit, it's just financial constraints. It's just like putting in the work. You know what I mean? No, but with the cornucopia behind that contract and the thinking man with that contract, it felt like although the abundance of cornucopia had already like blossomed, it was already present, it's already there. It isn't necessarily just like up for grabs. Now, again, with the work that's implied behind this North Node Pisces energy, I'm not surprised that the cornucopia was behind a contract because it's like that's what it takes, right? Like if someone wants to be, if we want something long term, sometimes it's like we have to accept what that would look like in the long term. that it's not going to be like when it's no longer the new flashy whatever. You know what I mean? And if we don't want something long term, then like that's fine because this is aligned to whatever we want. But it's like for someone that says they want something like long term or something long lasting, there's that, well, they're going to be like life is still going to be life. So there are going to be some great days, there are going to be some amazing days, there are going to be some absolutely wonderful days. There are going to be some days that are challenging. And in those challenging days, we have to learn that the thing is like it's still what we want ultimately. If even if like it doesn't look like it in the moment, right? Like let's say there's some like dream job or whatever, and like you get it, but then there's like a major project or something like that. And so things are going to get a little maybe tense, a little stressful, deadlines coming up, big deadlines, lots of money on the line, like that environment, like those pressures are kind of sort of going to be there. And depending on the role or the level that someone wants to be involved, they could feel more of that pressure. But feeling that pressure doesn't mean that that's not like where someone is supposed to be or what someone's supposed to be doing or like what they want. It's just a part of the package that maybe they weren't necessarily aware of, that we weren't necessarily aware of when we were looking at something from the outside as like a dream or whatever, right? Right, like maybe someone wants to be like a famous actor because they see people in movies and they're really like they want to play characters and they're really good at playing characters, but like you're gonna have some long days on set. Sometimes you're gonna get maybe a dense script that you're gonna have to memorize. And it's like we don't necessarily see all of the time that actors spend like memorizing scripts and getting in whatever kind of shape or learning whatever kind of skill they need for a movie, right? Like there is a character who does whatever in a movie, and so for 2 years they had to take ballroom lessons. Or I mean, I feel like 2 years for ballroom is a long time. Maybe for 2 years they had to like learn a martial art, or like 6 months they did ballroom lessons, or a year they did piano lessons, or they did whatever for that role. Like there's a lot of work that goes into it that we may not necessarily be aware of and cognizant at the jump. And I don't know. I mean, it has to be here somewhere, right? But again, it's like with our willingness to kind of sort of do that with the Two of Pentacles and the King of Cups, this is the time, energy, and effort invested to get this fulfillment. And that's like the juggling of everything, internal and external. And then we have this King of Wands where it's like, well, we can just jump on something new and fresh and exciting and not have to do the challenging or difficult part or whatever. Kind of sort of take a shortcut. Now, it's interesting, I guess, that this is where the note is here. Also, right, that could be the difference between, and I feel like, because there is this spiritual element that the energy oracle cards brings into it, but I feel like yes, there is the like money rituals and manifestations and all this other stuff, but I think too there it's almost like the flip side of like constantly being in a healing loop or whatever, where it's like maybe we don't like maybe we're not like maybe we don't need to be there anymore, but we kind of get stuck there because that's what we think the journey TM looks like. So it is almost like it comes back around, even if that North Node Pisces, well, even if the North Node Pisces starts in financial constraints, eventually it will turn back around into cornucopia abundance. So it's not going to be financial constraints forever. Just like maybe some people for a minute they're more into like the money, the love, the career, the manifestation part of spirituality, but that doesn't mean that it can't come back around into like the deepening connection with self and spirit. And maybe because again, that's kind of sort of the thing with that where the North Node is right now type energy of what something looks like up front, but what it deepens into. And it's not the like preconceptions and getting caught in a loop. That's this indecision all tied up. I mean, that's more so the all tied up that leads to indecision with this cornucopia. It's almost like this way. If we're all tied up, then maybe there's indecision on if we get the cornucopia. When it comes to the like bestowing the cornucopia, kind of sort of the same but in a different direction. Sometimes things can get all tied up when we're indecisive. Now we had the world and the ace of cups. Maybe the world and the ace of cups is kind of sort of the energy behind that south node, page of swords, and the queen of wands. When it was like, is the queen of wands like more magnetic? Like, is she attracting more? Or is it just like easier because things are in flux, where her reality matches her internal state more readily? I don't know, but I feel like we can leave it here. I'm gonna get final cards. This isn't gonna be 5 hours. Yeah, that's what it's reading like. If it resonates, take it. If it resonates, take the parts that resonate. If it don't, then leave it. Take it or leave it. And I guess moving forward, because maybe this, and again, Pisces is our introduction to, and it's still Jupiter. Well, traditionally ruled by Jupiter. Pisces is our introduction to universal nodal energy, right? Now, I've seen it Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. I've also seen some people include Sagittarius as universal energy. I mean, it's global. So, well, maybe since it's like global, it's kind of like a bridge. It bridges into the universal. You know what I mean? Because the world isn't the universe. But when we look at many things around the world, it can start to build universal understanding, right? Anyway, I was gonna say maybe like Aquarius Leo is the actual building upon it, right? So yeah, where things will start to like take root and be built. But right now, we're fixing the foundations, fixing our beliefs, learning to be open, or learning to be more discerning. On the flip side of that, learning to be open. All right. Now, if it was North Node Virgo, South Node Pisces, then I would have looked before and after the door to value, and I guess I want to say the broken heart, because I don't know. Maybe I don't know. It's fine. I did think about it. That's not where we are, so it doesn't matter. But anxiety with appreciation. Somebody's watching me. Could it be the IRS? The sun, and walking away. When I show you, she's walking towards the sign, but when I look at it, she's walking away from the sign. Which isn't. It feels like towards the man holding the coin. Oh my gosh. And then we got community. It's a community you pay for. All right, final card. We'll do 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's see if I can get them to. Yep, they flip back over. It was like 5 to 9 cards. Adjacent possibilities was at the top. Oh, there we go. Victory. Love it. Bottom of the deck is the thinking man. We got a 10 10, 46 10, 28 10. Victory behind the thinking man is envy. Now, we could take the higher road, path, and read envy behind the thinking man as adopting the thoughts, approach, practices of another, taking someone else's approach, where this North Node Pisces has been trying to get us to see our truth, our approach, what resonates as true for us in a almost experiential way. It's almost experiential, but not as solid or concrete as things would usually be. And it's like because it's more Piscean, dreamy, almost like a framework, that's what allows us to iterate so much so quickly. Because again, if you're growing a plant, right, there's a season that you plant the seeds in, and then there's the time that it requires to reach maturity. If the conditions are right, you can get it. Like that window isn't it's a lot shorter than if the seed has to lie dormant and wait for the conditions to be right. It's almost like if you're running a simulation versus like doing something in real life. It's a lot easier to change the parameters and see how it affects things in the simulation. You can speed it up, you can slow it down, you can look at what you want to look at, you can look at what you need to look at. But maybe when the North Node enters Aquarius, that's when stuff gets like real. But I mean, there's a benefit to that too, obviously, because it's real. um, Now, again, the card that came out is Victory. I don't know if I've ever noticed this, but she's like holding this laurel wreath as if she's presenting it, as if she's like about to crown you. So again, maybe when the nodes shift, or as everything is shifting, you'll be crowned, but also you'll put a crown on something. Right. Maybe there's a lot of things that are like influx or up in the air, but that's when like the choice will be made and a path will begin to unfurl. Right. I don't know. It's almost like, if there's anything you want to do, can do, like set the foundation while it's in Pisces, I would say. While the North Node is in Pisces, get the foundation set. Because again, it just reads like it would be easier to start on the right foot. We got the Nine of Wands at the cut with the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, it's an energy of like holding one's alignment, but also learning when to shift a little bit. To be steadfast, but not necessarily rigid. All right, final card, please. Ooh, that made some noise, but it didn't flip or fall. And it got to flip out. It gotta if all those cards were to have hit the table, it would have been a different story. But I kept shuffling and they went back down. And I was like, okay, because it was a lot. Now, did I shuffle it slightly more aggressively, hoping to encourage it to? Yeah, but they would have came out if they were meant to. You know what I mean? See, like this, there I can't. Oh, okay. Well, I tried to do it in the car, just so then they all just fell. That would have happened last time if it was supposed to happen. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Nine of Swords, and this is one of the most interesting Nine of Swords cards to me. Just like visually, I find it striking. That's before I saw the Nine of Swords in the Clarity Tarot because I really like that Nine of Swords in the Clarity Tarot. But it's just like really interesting. Like, is that the girl down there? Is that her up here? It's almost giving Bezaliel, Angel of Shadows, and it's like people can't tell which one is the angel and which one is the shadow. Now, five cards fell on the table. One of them came out by itself. Four of them came out together. Of the four that came out together, the top three cards are face down. The bottom fourth card is face up. We got the Chariot over here. Girl, she went for fleshy. These are fleshy sphinxes. These ain't sandstone, limestone, brick and mortar sphinxes. At least they don't look it. What I kind of like about this, it's like it's giving like a living riddle type energy. Almost like it's the energy of there's no right or wrong answer, but it feels like there is a right. There isn't necessarily a singular right answer, but it feels like there's a lot of wrong answers. And once you reach whatever point, like you would learn what a wrong answer is. Maybe before that point, it's like there's no right or wrong answers, but after you reach a certain point, it's like, yeah, that would have been wrong for me. For me in my life, and for what I want, and for what works for me, that wouldn't have led to the happiness or the joy or the peace or the whatever that I thought it would have led to. And I know that now, type energy. There are many, 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 many correct answers and also some wrong ones. Um, but I guess we're all here to have whatever experience we're here to have. So in that way, there is no wrong answer. Some of us are bound for a miserable experience, and for that's right for us because that's what we dedicate ourselves to. That's what we make all of our choices and decisions to align to. That's what we think we'll get, and it's there. Not everyone lives to be happy, obviously. But I want to say anyone could. Not everyone does, but anyone could. Also, just like it's not necessarily black and white type energy as well. Now, we do have the trans flag here, but this is the Pride Tarot. Um, I'm not surprised to see it. And even that, it's aligning with one's truth, right? Circumstances by birth could have been one thing. The conditions in which someone was raised, what they were raised to think or believe, even if we take the identity out of it. If we were raised to think that success looks like one thing, and so we chase that one thing, but we never get any fulfillment from it, that's not success for us. And so then we take the opportunities to discover what success is for us, and then we make the choices and decisions to align with what that success is, and then we get that fulfillment. We make that transition. Now, this is the magician, I'm sure. Down here, we got this all genders, all species, shape shifting, gender changing, or just like in between. And I actually want to read the book on this one because. Ooh, ooh. Did I do this? I mean, I'm the only one that use it, but I ain't. This book got a main crease in it. I don't know if you can see that crease. You see that crease? Oh, maybe I did. Oh, somebody didn't play. Somebody been playing with my cards. Ain't no way I put that. Well, maybe. The magician of traditional tarot makes the form of a nahual. I wanted to say like noddle. I thought it was a T in there. Nahuatl. A Mexican witch or sorcerer who has the ability to transform into an animal at will. Nahuales. Oh wait, the H is silent, right? Hola. Nahuales. Nahuales are a traditional part of Mexican belief in both indigenous and mestizo culture. They are gender fluid with the beard of a man, but with the hairstyle and earrings of a woman. They have the ability to transform not only where did later come from? Not only later into a beast. Maybe that speaks to that long term, right? What something looks like in the long term versus what it is in the short term. Anyway, my brain just inserted later. They are gender fluid with the beard of a man, but with the hairstyle and earrings of a woman. They have the ability to transform not only into a beast, but to change their gender as well. They hold the four elements of the four suits the wine, the cup, the pentacle, and the sword, for they have control over all of the necessary elements to manifest their intentions. They stand on a cliff face overlooking a village, for they are between the heavens and the earth and have access to both. They move through the world of the spirit and the world of men and have found wisdom and knowledge. Now, what I love about that is we've had that rooftop spiritual realm sort of imagery, even with the holy mountain. It's like getting to a high place and then gravity does a 180 and it just lifts you up into the sky. Where you go from there, I don't know. That's where the metaphor breaks down. That's where you transition to the other side of the arch, into the realm of spirit, into whatever. They hold all four elements within them. We saw the world card. On the world card, we see all four elements, but the Ace of Cups came out also in particular. We didn't really look at that Ace of Cups, did we? Man, the back is bent too. I mean, it is fairly small, so I do kind of gotta. I just like I feel it. My fingers are brushing up against the crease, and it's not that big of a deal. It's fine. It's just the buck. I'm curious about this Ace of Cups. The Ace of Cups is bursting at the seams with an abundance. There's abundance of love, joy, and tranquility. I kind of love that. It bursts at the seams with an abundance of love, joy, and tranquility, and that's almost why we have to learn what those things really mean to us and what they look like long term, right? Like peace, love, tranquility. It can feel different when we've been at peace for a long time, when we've been in a state of tranquility for a long time, and when we've been loved and loving for a long time. Like a well established peace, love, and tranquility can feel different than that first hit, right? You go from not being loved or being in situations where you always got to like fight for love or question it or whatever to a loving situation. Like it's like as the brain chemistry and everything is rewiring, there's that feeling, right? If you go from something chaotic to peace, like the relief of that immediate transition, that immediacy is one thing. But when you've been there You, like if you've been at peace for years versus when you're like fresh out of a chaotic whatever, again, it's going to feel different. So it's bursting at the seams with it, but can we recognize, can we realize with our real eyes? Sorry. He's a compassionate ambassador of new beginnings, and the energy of such flows from the life giving waters of his chalice. His message is put your past behind you, in the present, in the now. Let go of that which no longer serves you, and live your life to the fullest. The flow of love is endless, it's the most powerful force in the universe. When open to it, you shall receive all the love and support you seek. That was the Ace of Cups. Okay. I feel like it's fine. For the girlies who get it, for the girlies in the know, maybe you've also been experiencing your own synchronicities and confirmations and intrigue in whatever area. Now, when it comes to the three face down cards, we got the Ten of Pentacles. Love that. And see, it's so interesting how similar to the Ten of Wands this Ten of Pentacles energy is. But like they exist here. We got the Wheel of Fortune, which is another 10. The Ten of Pentacles and the Wheel of Fortune, things changing, shifting your way. Love that. And then we have Death, 13. Now, Death is holding this pride flag. It's holding a rainbow flag. The rainbow is the promise. And it's a promise that, okay, now it's like low key, a little biblical. It's the promise that the worst of the worst is behind you and that it will never happen again. And now you get to like thrive and you get to focus on thriving and flourishing and stuff like that. Death, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Ten of Pentacles. Whatever this transformation is, it's significant enough to fix the Wheel of Fortune to this Ten of Pentacles. And the Ten of Pentacles is, again, it came out as the one of the last pieces of that arch in the Keystone spread. Um, it's long standing. It's the energy of this is the cornucopia, the one that was behind the contract, the one where there was indecision, it was all tied up. This is the energy of that abundance, that cornucopia. Cool, love it. And it came out with the magician. This is a magician that can shift to be whatever it needs to be. And so again, that is an element of fluidity. It's not stuck in what it thinks or what it was, whatever, right? Cool. Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I feel like the Nine of Swords at the bottom of the deck is almost very that one quote where it's paraphrased to be like, what if we're not really afraid of failing? What we're actually afraid of is being like more successful, more beautiful, more lovable, beyond our wildest dreams. And then to add on to that, it's like past experiences and how we made sense of things. It's almost like it directly confronts with. I actually, somebody talked about this, maybe on a podcast that I listened to yesterday, of like finding love, like finding real love to the point where it was like maybe it's hard for some people to accept it because if they accept true love, then they also have to accept that they were worthy of being loved the whole time. And sometimes that can be challenging, especially not only with the experiences that we've had in the past, but with the things that we've chosen, the things that we've tolerated, the things that we've put up with, or whatever. Situations that we chose and situations that we found ourselves in because of what we believed. And again, it feels like this Nine of Swords can be a reckoning with that. But hopefully, we choose love and peace and tranquility and abundance anyway. And don't, you know, not choose it because of whatever, Anyway, cool. Ooh, less than an hour and a half. I'm excited. Well, I hope y'all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path, journey, and way you find. And I don't know, maybe for this last little bit, for the next few weeks, if there's anything else you want to be clear on, or if there's anything that you want to kind of sort of try out before you commit. Either way, right? Maybe you have been finding spaces of love and tranquility and things that maybe you never thought you'd ever find. And again, you can use this, take advantage of this opportunity to learn to be at peace with it and accept it, and to go through whatever you need to go through to put yourself in alignment with it before things take off, right? Aquarius is the energy of the future. Is it going to be utopia or dystopia? Because a lot of it's fine. No, I'll say it. A lot of the age of Aquarius belief seems to be one of like utopia and everyone's getting together, but it's Aquarius, girl, ruled by Uranus, the planet of like revolutions. If that's not cyberpunk dystopia, like what other sign is going to give you cyberpunk dystopia if not Aquarius? Especially Aquarius, because no one else is as far out into the future as that. Or, your hippy dippy, green energy all over the place. We live in harmony with the environment. Aquarius, she can give you that too. But it's the one that we align to, right? So it's an opportunity to adjust our alignment. So, all right. I'll catch you next time I catch you. And until then, I hope you're good. I hope you're well. I hope you're swell. I don't know.